Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the POA Farmer. I'm Kristen, and today is our very first seed to spotlight. And we're talking about lemon balm. So, this particular lemon balm I started growing, I want to say around November. You know, when the weather got gross and I was starting to be really sad that I couldn't grow things, I got these really nifty containers. They bottom water from Amazon. If I find the link, I'll throw it down in the bottom of the video. But I put all my soil out and started growing a few herbs on my bathroom windowsill. I have this really great window in my bathroom that gets fabulous light, and so I thought it's a good windowsill, has nothing else, why not add something green and growing? And I like the idea of lemon balm. Here's why. I'm probably going to upset some people if I'm not careful how I word this, so hear me out before you come for my blood. I work in the medical field. I am never ever going to say that there's no reason to go get medical treatment. Just not something you're going to hear me say. I hope I didn't lose everybody on the few that love watching me. I'm sorry if that hurt your heart, but I'm not done. I also believe that we overutilize some medications. That's an understatement. I feel like our diet and exercise could greatly impact whether we need certain medications. And I feel that if we were to stop and just take a breath and think about what we do in our daily lives, we might see that some of the stuff is unnecessary if we just cut it out. So I'm going to love getting my vitamin D from being outside or from plants. I'm going to eat what I can to give my body the nutrients it needs. I mentioned before, I'm a martial artist. I fight competitively. I'm training for my black belt. I can't feed my body with junk, which is tempting for me because I really love Oreos and junk food, to say the least. Like, I really love French fries. I digress again. But I need to be wise and mindful about what's going in my body and what's going in my daughter's. All that being said, the plants and herbs that I grow, I try to think about what their benefits are. You may notice this is a little bit of a different view. I apologize for background noise. I'm actually on my front porch because that's where I'm going to plant this. And so I wanted to step out here and talk to you. Plus, I really like this little nook. It might become a new favorite scene. Anyways, sorry, squirrel. When I started looking at some of the things that I noticed in my life, one of the things that I feel is common and we take for granted sometimes, not even, I think we've used the word so readily that we forget how powerful it really is, but anxiety is a real thing. And mental health has become a huge talking point in our country, and I'm sure many others lately. And I really wish it had become a talking point sooner. But at the same time, I think because we are talking about it more, we also downplay it to a different extent than we used to. Like, maybe when I was younger, I would not name it anxiety. I would just say, oh, I've got a lot of stress, or insert whatever else I would say. I've got XYZ going on. I'm studying. I've got all this stuff to do. But I wouldn't talk about the emotion behind what was causing the stress. Like, it was giving me anxiety because XYZ. Now we talk more about anxiety and more openly, but it's almost like, oh, it's just my anxiety. That's not something to be flippant about, but we are. And not everybody, but it's something I see a lot, especially because I work in the medical field. We are so prone to try to brush off the things that we struggle with, and it breaks my heart. So I thought about some of the things that I have happen in my world and some of the stressors and things that I've noticed, and it brought me to think about what I could grow that might help me to combat some of them. So I'm going to fully disclose, although I work in the medical field, I am not a physician of any kind, shape, or form. I am not a medical provider in that sense. I work in a very different type of the medical field. It is technology. So I am not giving medical advice in any way. Don't think I am. I'm also going to repeat one more time that although I'm particularly talking about a type of lemon balm I'm growing is Baker Creek's Limoncello, not affiliated. I'm just telling you what I grew because it's what I thought sounded good. Now, limoncello specifically. The reason why I decided to grow this one is because it talked about how lemony the flavor was and even the scent. And so I am a huge citrus fan. Always love anything lemon. It's one of my absolute favorite things. I figured if I'm gonna try a new herb and potentially eat it, drink it, have it around the house, why not start with something that I know I like the way lemon tastes and I like the way lemon smells. And it says it's got a pretty strong one and it smells like limoncello. It just didn't sound like a losing situation for me as long as I could grow it. Wasn't sure it was going to grow for a hot minute, but as you can see it did. I'm not going to just talk about this particular, I'm going to talk about lemon balm in general. One of the other reasons, we've talked about my pterodactyl-sized mosquitoes here in Texas. Limoncello is known to repel mosquitoes. Yes. One of the reasons why I got rid of all these shrubs over here and am continuing to rip up more shrubs is because of the mosquitoes. So this particular plant is going to go in a barrel bucket right outside my front door on this front porch, next to where all the mosquitoes usually like to hang out. The mosquitoes like it because they help block the wind, all the shrubs, and anything that's not gonna blow them away. It's a happy place for them to live. Not on my watch, guys. It repels mosquitoes, it smells good, I like it, it's pretty, it grew, and then I started reading up on it. One of the reasons why I wanted to make this a spotlight is because of the nutritious factor that comes from these teeny tiny leaves. I know that I need to drink more water. How many of you are the same? Go on, you can admit it. We know we do not drink enough water these days. Just like our plants need water, so do we. I think that I hear more that water's boring than anything else when it comes to why people don't drink water. Fair enough. We like the pretty flavors and we like things that taste good. Adding a few leaves of lemon balm to your water, especially one that has a very lemony flavor, changes the flavor of the water, and it's refreshing in that sense. I also like to do it with different mints, although mint is so not my favorite. I'm growing and trying to get better about it. I throw cucumbers in my water all the time. I like to add fruit to my water. Anything that will help me drink more, I'm gonna try. When it came to picking out the lemon balm, I've noticed that it's given credit for helping with, you guessed it, anxiety. So if I know that I'm prone to having some anxious moments, to say the least, a little bit of anxious feelings, most are, especially if you're raising a tiny human or, you know, trying to survive our modern world, all these things, I could do with something that might help lessen the feelings of anxiousness and anxiety. So if it's a calming and peaceful herb, I'm going to try to incorporate it in my life. Lemon balm is one. It's also really high in vitamin C and other minerals. If I can incorporate those extra vitamins in something as simple as a drink, I'm gonna do it. But I'm gonna take it a step further. Now, this little plant, it's growing really well. It's getting too big for this container. It's time to uppot it into its barrel. I found a recipe that I'm going to try, and I will link the video when I do down below. It's a limoncello lemon balm jelly. Never heard of it, never had it, so whatever I make, as long as it tastes good, I'm gonna assume I made it right. Since I've never had it before, I'm just winging it and picking out recipes. I'll link whatever I do in that video. But why not grab other ways to add these herbs to your diet? I found some really cool recipes where you add it into your salads, where you can make it into desserts. There was a tart I saw that used it, which I thought was really cool. So I'm gonna use a lot of the leaves as it grows up to make those things. And I'll start making those cooking videos. I'll throw them into the POA kitchen. I know the cooking part of this is probably not my forte in my videos, and it may not be your favorite video to watch. So I didn't want to do both in the same video where I'm talking about the seeds and the plants as well as what I'm doing with them, so that you can choose if you'd like to watch them both, but I will link them so it's easier. Now, we'll put that on the back burner. Little cooking joke for you, no? I'm a little punny, just a little punny. setting that aside to talk about the jelly and everything later, let's talk a little bit more about what it takes to grow this plant. It didn't take a lot, guys. Super easy, super low maintenance. Now, this container has these really cool strips of fabric that help soak the water up to help with that bottom watering. And it also has, I'll show you guys, a little indicator. Ooh. So you can see how much water is still in it. That has been super helpful for someone like me who can borderline either drought my plants or flood them. That helped me a lot, especially with herbs. And since it's less soil, I wanted to be a little more protective. Now, hindsight, I wish I had used a better soil. I know better now. Again, this is when I first started some of this journey. It's very wood chippy. Not my favorite for potting little sensitive things. As you can see, it didn't stop it. A lot of the other herbs I've tried that I put in the same kind of soil and did things with, no go, guys. They'd either start to sprout and just completely die off, or they wouldn't even sprout at all. This one did well in spite of that. Lemon balm can do well in not great soil. It does prefer it to be well drained. Because of that, I am going to poke out the holes in the barrel. Normally I wouldn't have, and there's a reason for that. The barrel I have and the planter, it's going to be a little bit off of the beaten path of my natural watering area. It's going to be under my porch. So although it's going to get plenty of sunlight and will grow just fine, it's not going to get the benefit of the rain pouring down on it. And I'm going to have to be more mindful and water it more frequently. Worry for me, this could be interesting. But because I know my tendency, I want to make sure it can still drain. The lemon balm itself likes well-drained soil. I want to honor that. I'm going to poke some holes in the bottom of my barrel. I'm going to start filling it up. I did steal some of the soil from the front bed that was so rich in nutrients. And I have other gardening soil that I'm going to throw in on top too. I will show you the finished product of what it looks like once it's nice and up-potted. But this is my first round of chatting about our Seed to Spotlight. I hope you learned a little bit about lemon balm. Throw in the comments if you have any recipes or cool things to do with it. I'm enjoying throwing it in my water. I'm trying not to go off too many of my leaves because it's still growing. But it's perennial. It's going to come back every year. It can be a bully. I'm keeping it in its own container, which will allow it to expand and grow some more. It readily reseeds. It should be fine into the summer because it's not going to be crazy hot under this area, and I'm excited to see how big it gets. But I'm not going to let it take over the full front bed like I originally planned. This is why you read up on the things you're planting, guys. I'm learning that probably the hard way, but I don't, I want to be adventurous. I want to just try things and go against the grain of everything you're always said, with some wisdom maybe, hopefully, a little bit of wisdom. All that being said, here's me putting it in its pretty nice pot. Let's see how it looks, and I hope you guys have some great advice for me on what all I can make with this. Thanks for hanging out with our Seed to Spotlight first video. Let me know if you like it, if there's more information you'd rather me share. Throw it in the comments. Give me all of the help you want, and I will do my research. I love reading up on it, and I don't mind sharing. Ask your questions. If I don't know the answer, I'll find it. Or I'll find someone who does. So, thanks for hanging out with me. Y'all take care now. Bye. Look at that great cut. Oh, Hori Hori, I love you. You're such a great tool. Oh, look at all those roots. Oh, it was so past time for this. Poor little guy. Whew. If this is not an accurate depiction of what it is to be Maine, dirty hands, dress, barefoot with my Hori Hori. You guys like me for who I am, right? Maybe, hopefully. Final product for now. I did start to separate out some of the roots, but I was afraid of damaging the plant too much. Has some great soil mixed in, it's super rich and moist. I'm going to skip watering it because we were supposed to get a pretty good rain today, and I'm gonna hope that a little bit of it comes through. I'm also going to push it back at some point because I think we might get some help. I'm gonna come back in a week or so, maybe 2, and show you guys if this bushes out even more, because I have a feeling it will. Yay!